Green Day's 13th album, Father of All, landed in February 2020, a month before a period of total world stability and definitely nothing insane just around the corner.
It's like a miracle, it will disappear.
The punk trio fizzled out with the pre-pandemic album that finished off their long contract with Reprise Records and split public perception of the band right down the middle. That was not right down the middle. That was right down the middle. Father of All eventually got a bit of a cult following going after initially sending fans diving back inside their turtle shells, with some claiming it was their best work since American Idiot. Although, to be fair, those people are delusional. Nah, but opinions were more torn than Natalie Imbruglia, leading a lot of people to accuse me of simping for my faves in Green Day when I gave the album a decently positive review. I figured it was worth sitting down to re-examine the album, its rollout, and to give an updated review since my opinions have definitely drifted in the years since. Hey neighbor, my name is John, and this is a special episode of I Got It Wrong, a safe space for admitting some sort of fault, bias, or maybe just a changing of opinions on something I reviewed in the past. We're looking back at Father of All Motherfuckers, which is probably Green Day's most divisive album, clocking 10 scrappy songs into a very abbreviated 26-minute runtime. A quick thank you to my channel members supporting ARTV with a $5 a month membership. Just tap the join button below to sign up, and you'll get exclusive perks like early access to content. Okay, so before we compare my past feelings to where I'm at now, this is an era that definitely needs some additional context for the response it got. Green Day started the machine by announcing the Hella Mega Tour with Fall Out Boy and Weezer, with each band dropping a new song the same day in September 2021. The hype was huge leading up to the official release, but at least in the case of Green Day, a lot of people, including me, walked away confused as hell at the direction the band were taking. Reprise Records must have come down with a case of boomeritis, because the tacky, flat-out lame marketing for Father of All included horny unicorns, cringy sales incentives, and a massive billboard. Don't make me talk more about the billboard. Okay, fine, we'll talk about the fucking billboard! The sign read, "No features, no Swedish songwriters, no trap beats, 100% pure uncut rock. Father of All out now." Bands on major labels aren't typically in charge of their own marketing, so this is cringe by association. It's their name plastered up there after all, but whatever billboard dad signed off on this deserves a huge demotion to go sit in a corner and think about what they did. The problem with this entire era was much bigger than a stupid sign, but I guess you could kind of point to this as an omen and say, oh yeah, that's the time that I felt like I was supposed to be embarrassed to be a Green Day fan. As for the guys themselves, they hardly seemed to care about the album leading up to it, and definitely not after release day came around, which mind you was a 5-month wait after the lead single. They played a whopping 2 songs from Father of All at the iHeartRadio album release party for this album, which was the writing on the wall, and by the time concerts started happening again in summer 2021, the Hella Mega setlist didn't have anything from it whatsoever. Even the band that recorded this with a no fucks given attitude couldn't be bothered to tour it off of life support, so people moved on, forgot about it, and a cloak of invisibility carried it off the grid. The music may have been quickly forgotten by the public, but the damage it did to Green Day's name lingered, proving how a weak or polarizing album or the marketing around it really can tank a reputation. Earlier, I mentioned getting backlash for a somewhat positive review of the album, even though watching it back now, I do think I did a pretty fair job at pointing out why much of it felt like a fleeting high. Even though this record was fun to play through, it's a long shot from being anywhere close to their best. I am definitely biased in every review I've ever made, which might sound like a gotcha moment, but most of you already know and understand that any reviewer is inherently biased because art is incredibly subjective. Basically, I went into Father of All Motherfuckers prepared for impact and ready to cringe, but much to my delight, Green Day instead delivered a fun, danceable rock and roller that's better than what most of us could have ever seen coming. The Father Father of All review is my most viewed solo review ever, which means that for a lot of people, this may have been their first exposure to this John from ARTV character, whoever the hell that is. But they may have heard me saying stuff like that in the intro and clicked off, assuming I was gonna do nothing but shower them with praise, which wasn't the case, but I get why it came off that way. When you allow Green Day a chance to prove themselves, you'll find yourself nodding, tapping, and even singing along, because if there's one thing some of these deep cuts are, it's memorable. This is one of the hardest things to gauge as someone reviewing new releases. Even though I was able to get the album a week early from the label at the time, making a call on something as important as replay factor is next to impossible to say for sure out of the gate, and that's what I'm unfortunately gonna need to walk back. The hard truth is that I did not come back to this album at all. So much so that I ended up forgetting to show the album in my annual vinyl update just 3 months after it dropped, leading me to show it in the next year's update and then sell my rare non-unicorn vinyl for almost 10 times what I paid. So what? I have a mortgage now. I can't be holding on to fool's gold for the sake of completionism. My last FM scrabbles were a ghost town for most of the songs from February 2020 until this summer, 3.5 years later, when I started listening to the album again, only to remember why I quickly forgot about it. Father of All is dangerously close to being car commercial core, with its little rock jangles planting seeds in your mind that you'll hum along to throughout the day without even knowing what band it is. Butch Walker produced the majority of the record, and it's hard not to feel like he over-decorated for a holiday party, with all of the unnecessary bells and whistles doing the equivalent of polishing a stray turd. This identity crisis clearly felt like Green Day taking another look at their dormant side project Foxborough Hot Tubs, which in theory would be great. It's why I think the garage rocker Dose is the most overhated, underrated in the trilogy. But Father of All is not Dose, and it's not even close, even if Stab You in the Heart is basically fuck time done right with a side helping of Jailhouse Rock. I still don't hate this album, flaws and all. So if you think we're headed into Total Recall territory, catch a different bandwagon, it's not always that bad. The falsetto-heavy title track really grew on me. It's a ton of fun, and I actually wish they would play it again since it sounds even better live. Imagine it like a hairy mole. You close your eyes to avoid seeing, but when you open them again, oh, you realize it was just a freckle, and freckles give character you didn't immediately appreciate. Probably could have gone with a different metaphor, but the point stands. A few rare moments on the album got better with time. Father of All, Graffitia, I'm having a hard time extending the list. A lot of these songs are like a mirage that seems like a groovy time machine waiting to happen, but when you pull out the binoculars, poof, the fun disappears. I Was a Teenager and Meet Me on the Roof were the two songs I was the most vicious towards in my original review, and I feel that disgruntled rage even more now. Everything about them is insultingly lazy, from the titles, abysmal writing, the visit your local Toyota dealer hooks. It's a pile of crap with the Green Day autograph. Balloons like Sugar Youth and Junkies On A High still haven't popped, which is me saying that maybe they're kinda stuck up there in the rafters, but I generally like both of them, even if the transition from Sugar into Junkies is trash, and continues showing how little effort it feels like they put into making this album feel coherent. Sugar Youth lashes out with punk on its sleeve for a head-spinning adventure in less than 2 minutes, while Junkies is yes overproduced with some irritating yelping vocal chops, but also yes, a catchy introspective look at how Billy Joe sees himself. If only there was anything else to get even remotely excited about on the album. Anything! Shit, I'm grasping at straws just to try and find something nice to say about Oh Yeah. Maybe I did in another life. Oh Yeah, a simmering stadium rocker that twists up its stomping percussion with a striking guitar line that really pops out in the mix. Oh no. Monotonous chanting, sleazy retro rock nothingness, and oh yeah, a sample of a song originally penned by convicted child molester Gary Glitter. I was shocked when I heard past me dumping praise on it, but I guess that's how I felt before hearing that dumb chorus one too many times, as it's definitely now in my bottom 3 alongside The Usual Suspects. I'm pretty sure that leaves Take the Money and Crawl as the only song I haven't mentioned by name. Okay, wow, I forgot the egregious sports highlight reel filler. Sue me. People seem to love it and see Take the Money and Crawl as this saving grace, but is it really anything special outside of a decent riff? I don't know. It kind of feels like that episode of It's Always Sunny where Mac and Charlie try to fake their own deaths by running a car into the wall, except Mac forgets to jump out. That's hyperbole. It's not awful, but it does feel like Green Day were barreling towards a brick wall in a speeding car and forgot to hit the brakes on that chorus. The chorus just doesn't feel right. It's radio rock on cruise control. We'll probably never know the full thought process behind Father of All. Was it actually a partial troll to finish off their record contract? Who knows? I'd love to believe that it was, but what I can tell you, no matter what the intention was, it's messier than eating baby back ribs with your bare hands. I was pretty generous to this album in 2020. Crisis averted, boys. This isn't even their worst album. So bold, yet so naive. The year is now 2023, and I absolutely think this is Green Day's worst album, so instead of that 3.5, we're gonna do some simple math by subtracting a full point, making Father of All Motherfuckers now a light 2.5 out of 5. I might do a few more I Got It Wrong episodes in the near future, so I hope you enjoyed getting this one and seeing the new updated backdrop. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new in town, follow me on Instagram for even more music takes, and if you like hearing me talk about Green Day, tap the playlist on screen, and I'll see you next time.